NFL Divisional round is over, and now we have the four matchups that happened, and we're going to discuss all of these in today's episode of the Red Zone Recaps. There were some crazy matchups with some really high scoring games, and some nail biters, games that went on to the final seconds of the game. All that and more coming up in today's podcast, so stick around so you don't miss it. So the first game we're going to take a look at is the Houston Texans at Baltimore Ravens on Saturday, January 20th. This game started off pretty strong for both teams, with both teams scoring 10 points in the first half, and then something must have happened in the Ravens locker room at the halftime, as the Ravens went on to score 24 unanswered points in the third and fourth quarters to come out with the win 10-34, and they are now heading on to the conference championship, and they are going to face one unknown team at that time, but we now know who they are going to face. That is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens Stadium, so that is going to be a bit of a surprise there. I think this was a great matchup for both teams. Sadly, the Texans' season ended there after a really strong rookie breakout season by C.J. Stroud. Lamar Jackson had 2 touchdowns and 152 yards. And Lamar Jackson also had the most rushing yards on the team with 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns as well, to complement his 152 passing yards. So a really strong game by both teams, but sadly, the Texans season ended as the Baltimore Ravens head on to the conference championship. And the next matchup we are going to take a look at is the Packers at San Francisco 49ers on Saturday night. Sam, what are your thoughts for this game?
Yeah, this was a really wild game in the San Francisco Stadium. The Packers did have a lead for a long period of the game until like the last couple of minutes. Christian McCaffrey just really helped this 49ers offense. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He came in really clutch, having a rushing touchdown in the final minutes, and then a game-winning pick by the 49ers off of Jordan Love really sealed the game for this 49ers team, and they are going to play in the NFC Championship against the Detroit Lions.
Well said, Sam. And this was definitely a very exciting game for teams of both, for fans of both teams, as both teams traded a lot of leads, and it was just an overall great matchup to watch. George Kittle also had a pretty strong game with 4 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. Brock Purdy also showed up in the game for once and actually helped lead the team to a strong victory with 1 touchdown and over 250 passing yards. The next matchup we're going to take a look at is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions, and they faced off on Sunday in the afternoon. This was a very close game, and it came down to the final drive to decide the winner of the game. Sam, please give us the recap on this game.
Both teams had a really good offense, maybe not so good defense, but the Lions defense did come clutch in the end, having a game-winning interception over Baker Mayfield, which really helped the Detroit Lions win, and that's going to make them play the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Conference Championship. Both quarterbacks played really well, and superstar wide receiver Mike Evans did have 8 receptions and 147 yards and a touchdown, but in the end, the Detroit Lions were just the better team and won 31-23.
Thanks for that recap, Sam. It was definitely a great game. It is sad to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go down, and really their season is over. However, the Detroit Lions do get to keep going. They now have 14 wins this season and 5 losses, 2 straight playoff wins, and they do hope to keep that streak alive when they face off against the San Francisco 49ers this Sunday in this Levi Stadium, I believe, and this is going to be a very great game for both fans of both teams, and I'm really excited to see who will head on to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. On Sunday night, the Kansas City Chiefs visited the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, and they had one of the craziest matchups and the saddest endings in the playoffs this year. Sam, please give us the recap on this game.
It was a really close game and a really good nail biter till the last couple minutes. It was actually very until the last drive for the Buffalo Bills with a 44-yard field goal from Tyler Bass to try to tie the game at 27, but he missed it wide right, and that really sent all the Buffalo Bills fans sad.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaking loss for the Buffalo Bills. However, the Chiefs do head on to the AFC Championship, and they will have to face off against the very strong offense and defense of the Baltimore Ravens. They will also be playing in the Ravens Stadium, so that will probably affect their performance as well. Both QBs for the Bills and Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs had really good games. Both QBs having a good amount of touchdowns and passing yards, and just an overall great game. I think both quarterbacks quarterbacks performed well, and both offenses and defenses did get carved up a little bit. But however, the Chiefs did come out on top, 27-24. And now we are going to talk about the some really great players that played this weekend. First up, I would really did enjoy seeing a performance from Mike Evans. He had 8 receptions for 150 yards and 1 touchdown. Sam, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, he had a really wild just season stats all season long, and this game didn't make it stop. He had 8 receptions, 147 yards, and a touchdown, and he really came in clutch, getting a big grab on 4th and 14 to keep the Buccaneers game winning hopes alive, but sadly it wasn't enough and the Bucks still lost.
Yeah, I do believe he was targeted on that last play that Baker Mayfield threw, that was ended up being intercepted. However, he was not able to come down with the ball, and it was picked off to end the Buccaneers season. And now we do have a bit of information as to what Tyler Bass said after he missed the game-tying field goal on Sunday night against the Chiefs. It was a 44-yard field goal. They had it at their own 34-yard line, and there was about a minute and a half left on the clock. And this is what he said after in the post-game interview. Quote, ultimately, it's completely on me. I've got to do a better job of getting through to my target. I've got to do a better job of playing it a little more left when you have a left to right wind. I've been here for so long to know that you have to do that. I was trusting my line that I had in warm ups. Hit a good ball, but it didn't work out. I feel terrible. I love this team and it hurts. This one hurts bad. Yeah, I've got to do a better job. Totally on me. So this is definitely a good statement by the player. He definitely did take most of the blame, which is I'm glad to hear. And he did have a pretty good season this year, with 76% of his field goals made. But the Sean McDermott coach did say that they had full confidence in Bass, so he's probably not going to get cut off the team anytime soon, which is very surprising. Sam, please give me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, he's a really good kicker, actually, so it was definitely a big surprise to see him miss not a very long field goal. We did see after the game that Josh Allen was waiting for him, and so we see that he definitely forgives him, and just happy to see that, he takes full responsibility for his mistake.
Are you sure he wasn't just going to beat him to beat him up somewhere? No, I'm just kidding. He is definitely a good teammate. Both are good pairs of friends and just a great team overall. I'm a big fan of the Bills, and I'm glad to see that their season didn't go down in terrible shambles.
And some other NFL news we have is that the Lions have signed Zach Ertz to their practice squad on Monday morning. He did not play very good on his previous team, the Arizona Cardinals, but just excited to see if they use him for this 49ers matchup next week, and just if he can definitely help this Lions offense be better.
Yeah, Zach Ertz did win a Super Bowl back in 2018 with the Eagles. He's definitely one of the better tight ends and more well-known tight ends in the NFL. I'm really excited to see what they do with him with the Lions, how they're able to fit him in. Also, the fact that Sam Laporta is probably out for next week's matchup is going to be a pretty tough hit to the quite powerful Vikings offense, and I'm excited to see what happens there. Thank you all so very much for listening. If you are still here, please smash that like button and subscribe. We do make weekly NFL updates, and we will be doing more sports once the NFL season is over. I do hope that you have a great rest of your day, and
Goodbye.